Today we are going to explore overcoming obstacles. Another facet of our work in developing this body congruently, holistically, is definitely a skill of overcoming obstacles. Well, arguably not so essential for survival this time in current years. Could be more essential when we would be escaping from a saber-toothed tiger somewhere in the jungle. Yet, there is another facet of importance for it. It's that area of skill which is about being able to do something that is, well, that doesn't have a middle point, you know? You either do it or you don't. You either do it or you fail. Like a jump. You cannot half jump and have to. Well, you probably can in sort of these drills that we've been doing, the half jump. But overcoming obstacles, well, you have to overcome it. You either overcome it or not. The next level from it is the acrobatic skill. You either do a backflip or a aerial or a front flip or whatever, or you don't. There is no middle point. There is no way to approach it like in a step-by-step kind of fashion. It has to be done or it has to be not done. The importance of this skill when it's attained, when you can do it, is that the psyche gets confidence. Confidence in its ability of congruently control the body. Confidence in ability to overcome something, to reach something that you couldn't reach before. It's that which I call the real body that we are exploring via such mediums as, well, martial arts, physical training, parkour. Ultimately, overcoming obstacles is a domain of the parkour, the art of motion, which has originated in France in the 90s of the last century, actually earlier than 90s, 80s. As a discipline, it evolved from the obstacle course of the firefighters, which in turn has evolved from a work originated by French Marine George Hebert, who developed a method called the méthode naturelle. Pardon my French, natural method. It's quite a fascinating story how he developed the method. He was conducting an evacuation on Martinique Island, of the whole island basically, because there was an eruption of volcano. Having done that, having helped to evacuate over 800 people, he gained this confidence in his own physical abilities. And he kind of started to backtrack how he came to it. As a Marine, he used to travel and see the various tribes and indigenous populations in Africa as island nations, and the physique of those people who inhabited those nations. They were lean, capable, run, jump, climb, swim. They could do whatever. They could do everything they needed it for survival. So he took on this and started to train himself according to these modalities, ability to do something rather than the heaviness of weight you can lift, which is cool too, but arguably the ability to climb up the wall, climb the tree, jump over something, jump over a gap, jump for length, run for distance, climb, swim, lift an object, not necessarily gym and weight in the gym. How can you save somebody's life? How can you develop such strength, such capacity, such confidence and proficiency? Hence, he developed that method, and it was popularized in France in the early 20th century. It has been then adopted by military, and from there it has been also adopted by the firefighters, which has evolved into an obstacle course for firefighters. And from there, it was basically taken down on the streets. The guys in the suburbs of parkour, or sorry, suburbs of Paris and Nice, were developing this art of motion, jumping over things, climbing buildings, basically expressing their physicality in this direct way of interacting with the environment. Well, first things first, we have already explored jumping. Now let's explore how to jump over things. So here we have this branch of the tree. We'll explore the basic vault of parkour practice. Vault is a jump over something with the help of either some body part. So you use some body part to prop onto the object. So in this case, we're going to be doing lazy vault, and I'm going to be using my foot and my arm. So how do we approach the lazy vault? His hands, this is an obstacle, whatever it may be, in this case tree branch. You gotta put one foot on the object and another, and the arm as well. And I'm going to bring my other leg through this gap here formed by my foot and my arm. Like if I were to show it here in reverse, this is the gap here, which I'm going to throw my body through. So I'm going to take off and bring this leg through. This is basically a lazy vault. Once again, put my foot on, arm on, bring another leg through, and we keep on moving. Do it the other way. Here, I approach, take one step, another step goes on top of the obstacle, arm reaches the obstacle at the same time, and I'm over. Yeah. Now, how do I do it in a fast motion? Say I'm running. This is how. So practice first this. Find something low, maybe like a hip height, like this tree branch, and simply practice this in a static fashion. Foot first, then arm, another leg through, jump over. Obviously, in the middle, there is a way to pause this movement. You would be like here, and in the middle there is this point of balance, yeah? If you are to stay here and do it slowly, this is what happens. But in actual fact, this is not a movement to train balance, which you can, of course. This is a movement to overcome obstacle. So this transitionary phase in the middle is very fast. And that's all. How do we do it in running or in stepping? The next step, when you have done the putting your hands through that hole in the middle, is take steps. So say you take 3 steps. 1, 2, and on the third one your legs would be going there. I spaced it badly. So 1, 2, 3, leg up, arm up, 4, jump over. That's a lazy vault. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. And train it like so, as many times. Find something, tree trunk, a bench in the park, whatever, and just do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Couple steps, hand and arm, legs through, back and forth. So as we put in our legs through the obstacle, I'll show you here where it's most visible. There is a moment where we kind of push the pelvis forward together with our leg. So here, I bring my pelvis forward. I don't leave my pelvis behind. You want this forward momentum motion. So I'll jump over this one and show you on the way back. Yeah. So approach, boom, boom, and here, pelvis forward. We want always to propel the biggest, heaviest body part forward across. Once again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And like so. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you have done this, figure the mechanic. You can do it easily in this step-by-step way. Do it in a running fashion. That would be this. And continue the run. Etc. Do this many times, and this way you can overcome the obstacles consequently. Several obstacles, for example, if you can find them. Try them on both sides. Say you use the right foot, left arm, or you can use left foot, right arm, and alternate. Try performing these movements, these vaults on both sides, step by step. Then with steps, then fast, then running. Then in a combination of several obstacles to overcome. Just use this vault, just this one. I'll introduce more as the program unfolds. First, just learn this, the basic way to overcome the obstacle. Like so. So, practice this many times. I think I'll introduce you a super lazy version of the lazy vault as well. In this one, you only use one arm on the obstacle. That's all. For this, I just put one arm on and throw both legs over. That's it. Arm on, both legs over. Arm on, 1, 2, and over. Arm on, 1, 2, and over. This would be, well, you can do it over any obstacle basically. If you use the bigger one, same. Same. And in running, for this one, if you're doing it in a first casually, leisurely manner, legs are straight, yeah? You're doing this basically, boom, boom. So one leg over, then another over. Boom, boom, over. Boom, boom, over. However, when we are doing a running jump, that would be a bit different. Legs have to bend slightly. So take a look on this one, I'll show. This one they have no room to extend the legs, so I bend my knee slightly, but same principle. First one knee goes over, then another one follows. A few more, just for you to see. The beauty of parkour, of this art of overcoming obstacles, is that you can go for a walk do something, do whatever, and just practice it. See a bench in the park, or see a fallen tree in the forest. You go for it. Just throw your legs over it, like you would do casually, something like this. Woo! Etc. So, in the second part of this lesson, I will introduce the rolling, how to roll on the ground, which will then connect with landing, because the rolling is the way to absorb the impact after a landing, basically. So practice this and rolling, and we'll connect them in the next lesson. Thank you. So we shall continue exploring basic ways of locomotion and overcoming obstacles. Here we'll explore a supplementary drill for overcoming obstacles, which is the roll. Basically, we're gonna roll over our back, which, as I've explained, is a way to absorb the impact from landing. And as well, a beautiful tool for coordinating the body and developing the non-shyness of use of the body, I would say. When you can use the body in all these various ways, the growth of confidence is just immediate, exponential. There is nothing really as efficient as exploring how to manipulate this body in various planes to regain confidence which might have been lost or have been there. So the rolls. We shall start by understanding that we roll from one shoulder to the opposite hip. So if we are to trace this diagonal, say from my right shoulder to my left hip, there will be this sort of diagonal, or from my left shoulder to the right hip, again this sort of diagonal. And that's kind of a diagonal we gotta roll across all along. So how do we approach it? We shall bring the shoulder first to the ground, close to the ground. Say we're here, put my knee down, bring my shoulder close to the ground, and I tuck my head under. Shoulder on the ground, then I use my back leg to push off. And I roll towards my left hip, because it's my right shoulder here. That's the roll. Once again. From there, this stance, right shoulder onto the ground, use your legs, roll over. You're better off demonstrating you alongside this line, so you see how it goes. Very simple first. Knee down, shoulder down, and use the back leg, roll over. Or using the left shoulder and rolling across the diagonal towards the right hip. So I bring the left shoulder on the ground, use my legs to push off, roll towards my right hip. And alternate like so. First it's very close to the ground. You want to be as close to the ground as possible. Bring the knee down, bring the shoulder down, use the legs to kick off, and roll. And same the other way as well. Left shoulder to the right hip, and roll. And so do it many times. Like this, back and forth many times. It's a good way to massage your back, apart from other things. Good way to feel the wholeness of the body, to connect the body, to establish this integrity in the body, even though it's momentarily, but that's something to start with. So then Still from sitting, but this time we're not gonna put the knee on the ground. We're gonna put the shoulder on the ground straight away in this more fluid manner. So there will be greater momentum if you don't put your shoulder, or sorry, your knee down on the ground, and you won't have to push off with your back foot. You will roll naturally, but make sure you tuck your chin in, because otherwise you will roll over your face, which is not going to be pleasant. There is still a bit of a kick, push off with the foot, you have to do it, but the very momentum of just bringing the shoulder towards the ground will do the trick. You'll roll. Just make sure you roll across the diagonal, because if you roll straight through the middle, you will have bruises on your vertebrae, those protuberances of the vertebrae afterwards, and you don't want that. So you roll across the soft bit from shoulder to the hip on the diagonal. Okay? In this fashion, many times. Repetition, as usual, makes perfect. Then we want to level up, of course, and do it from standing. And it's going to be the same technique. First we roll or lower down. And you're gonna put the hand on the ground like so. So the palm, the fingers are facing towards you. This is a mountain hill. I don't want to step on ants. Fingers toward you. So you want to roll over the... Oh, these guys are fast. You want to roll over the outside of the arm. So it's going to be like this. Again, fingers towards me. And I'm going to roll across all the surface, shoulder, and then diagonal on the hip. Yeah. Notice, upon landing, my knees are bent. I don't throw my legs out like so. I make sure my knees are bent like this. Yeah. So I end up in this position. Once again, from standing, hand on the ground first, then rolling across the arm, shoulder towards diagonal, the other hip. You don't want to come from a completely standing position. You want to lower the center a bit down, then reach the ground, then again push with the leg, roll over. So again, hand on the ground, push with the leg, roll over. And again, many times. Make it smooth, make it so it doesn't hurt. There goes my mic again. The trouble of doing acrobatics with the digital equipment attached to the body. Anyhow, so these are 3 basic levels, yeah? First down, knee on the ground, shoulder on the ground, roll over. Then, no knee on the ground, just shoulder on the ground, roll over. Then from standing, hand on the ground, roll over the arm. Work on those. And if you're really good at all 3 of them, you can do a dive roll, which is this. Dive roll, we take a step and extend the arm forward as if you're diving. Yeah? So we took a step and roll over. We don't have to do a huge jump into distance and roll over, which of course can be done. First of all, we simply take a step and roll over. Take a step and roll over. And we do it many times like so. And again, work on making it as smooth as you can, such that you're rolling evenly from the shoulder to the hip, all parts of this line touching the ground. Then what you can do is to extend the moment you spend in the air. Yeah. Extend the time. So we actually dive. Only do this if you have got proficiency in all the previous steps, because otherwise chance of hurting yourself is good and sure. So for the dive roll, you can take run up as much as you need, and you want to extend the body. Yeah? Hopefully I haven't rolled out of the frame. So try doing these on both right side and left side. Definitely one side will be somewhat wonky, but make sure you work on them both. Step by step, approach the movement sequentially. All the skills and arts are sequential. Okay, so work on these vaults, lazy vaults and rolls, and we shall connect them together in the next lesson. Thank you.